This is Case by Case from the City Attorney's Office.
With a one-way ticket out of town, critics call it patient dumping.
The city of San Francisco is suing the state of Nevada in one of its mental institutions, as Ben Tracy reports.
Called Greyhound therapy. Bus patients to another state and out of your state budget.
We were first alerted to the possibility that San Francisco could be impacted by patient dumping by virtue of a Sacramento Bee article that followed the travails of one individual, James Floyd Brown.
The story of James Brown, one of the patients who was left in Sacramento, got a lot of psychiatric issues, takes a lot of medication, was simply left there with no medical attention, no medication, sort of put on a bus with cans of Ensure, things that you couldn't do to a dog. This guy was, literally dumped in the streets of Sacramento and told to call 911.
Just the numbers, the sheer numbers that were reported in that story of almost 500 people bused to California alone, 1,500 people bused throughout the United States. It just struck us as an inordinate number of people being bused home. And so we thought we would look into it.
For decades, it has been urban legend, urban myth, that people were sent to San Francisco from other jurisdictions. So we pursued an investigation which resulted in confirming that there had been people that had been discharged from the Ross and Neal State Mental Facility in Nevada and that ended up here in San Francisco.
We had to launch a tremendous amount of outreach to find these people, to find out who are they. One of my first steps was to create a flyer that I posted in the General Delivery Post Office, homeless shelters, medical clinics, just to get out to not only the patients, the former patients who were sent here, but to caregivers, to medical providers, to people who work with the homeless population and the indigent population.
These are individuals who, from what our investigation has shown, these are individuals who for the most part have ongoing mental illnesses that require continued medication, ongoing medical care. And so Nevada had to know when they put these people on a bus that these individuals would be receiving medical care at the expense of the destination city or county.
One of our biggest issues with regard to patient dumping is that people are being evicted from their community. They're being socially excluded from the places in which they have a social grounding. If people are being taken out of their community, sort of kicked over to some other place, it's going to take them months, maybe years, to develop the kind of connections that are going to help them.
I think it's entirely likely that a number of the patients who were bused, not only to California but other parts of the country, in fact have not received care.
I don't think they did receive the treatment. They didn't receive the care that they needed. There's a real question as to whether these individuals should have been discharged in the first place.
People with mental health conditions have a right to live and be supported in their communities, but the resources are denied or sort of squeezed or attenuated with the idea that, okay, if only these people's problems would go somewhere else, then we're really talking about human rights violations.
It comes down to just the basic sense of human decency. I mean, because this is about more than dollars, and that's why we have filed a class action on behalf of all cities and counties in California to ensure that we have protocols in place which minimize the possibility that this can ever happen again with respect to interstate transfers of psychiatric patients from Nevada.
For more information, visit sfcityattorney.org. If you have evidence or testimony that could assist the investigation, please call 415-554-4700.